Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Yeah, Solana also develops further into the direction I indicated further down. Yeah, as I said, further downtrend for all altcoins, expected further lower prices. And also as long as Solana still is below the descending trend line, this is sort of the view. Yeah, this will of course change as soon as Solana breaks out of this descending trend line. This is of course holding it down at the moment. That downtrend here has been very impulsive, as I already indicated, and it just suggests lower prices. Short-term upside always possible, but for that, a good signal would be a breakout out of the descending trend line here in orange. And the new development that we've had is that this support line was broken. I showed it on in the last video that should we lose this $81 level that is here in red, this highlighted support line, then the next target would be the $75 level. And then we are already here at the low from the 24th of February. And if we lose that, then I think we are going to get to the $55 level, which I've highlighted now a few times as the ideal target level for the current correction. My view, however, is that this is not going to happen straight away. I think there will be a corrective move up in line with Bitcoin. And if you have a question about that, check out my Bitcoin video. I think there will be a corrective move up before we really move from $75 to $55. There's one last chance here to find support before $75, and I would say this is here, that area around $77, $78, because we already broke that $81 level once, yeah, and this was here on the 13th of March, and on the 14th we basically failed the retest and moved back higher. But yeah, this is around that area, $78, $79, where we could find support before we actually go down further. On the other hand, the daily candle isn't closed yet, so this is very important to understand. The daily candle isn't closed. We only in today's candle broke below that level. That means without during the day, without a problem, the price could march back above that $81 level, and then we wouldn't even have done a daily candle close below the $81 level. So for me, it's a bit like a daily candle close below $81 would confirm further downtrend. The sign or the fact that we have now broken this, of course, is already quite bearish, but the daily candle ideally closes. We also haven't done a retest. So on the 4-hour chart here, we've now closed obviously here a 4-hour candle below that level, but we haven't retested it. That is also very important. So what we would want to see is that at some point here, oops, that's the wrong instrument here, that we are coming back, retesting before we head further down. If you say we want to see it, why is that? We want to see rising prices. Well, yeah, we want to see rising prices, but we also have to face reality. I mean, we are in a recession, but independent of that, we've been talking about these prices already in November. That was before anyone talked about the war and whatever. So I think this is sort of a correction that anyway started before that anyway. But it will affect to some degree maybe the recovery. But what you also should never forget is that the markets are forward-looking. Markets are forward-looking, so that's why I don't really look at this stuff with recession and so on, because it makes sense to analyze charts and not to take a mix and a mess of fundamental information into this, because it doesn't give you anything. It doesn't give you price targets or anything. What is important to analyze the charts, look at key levels, use sentiment analysis, stuff like that. I think that is much more useful than saying, okay, the recession could affect this in some way. The inflation could affect this in some way. And also in terms of, people will always find reasons for something, right? If crypto was going up now, people would say, yeah, that's because crypto is a hedge against the loss of the dollar value and stuff like that. Or crypto is always doing well when markets are going down. People would always find reasons for why prices are going up or down. That is why it is so important to just stay objective, analyze the charts, use the Elliott waves, that's what I do at least, or other methods, and come to your own conclusions based on the charts, because only here you can really get price targets. Nothing else will give you price targets. So $55 for me is that ideal price target. The recovery, in my view, isn't starting yet. That's what I was talking about, because Bitcoin also still needs to move much lower to complete its correction. And also I don't like these correlations normally. I don't really like to talk about them because it creates a mess. You know, a Bitcoin correlation doesn't give me a price target for Solana, but what does give me a price target is the fact that the 78.6% fib level is at $55, and that is what I'm waiting for here. Theoretically, Solana could start to move up, but this is not very bullish anymore what Solana did here. Yes, we still have a higher low, but we've come down too far. And we've come down too impulsively, and that's what I've said here throughout, that we have come down too impulsively. This does not look like a normal correction in an uptrend. I showed you a few times here a potential breakout scenario, but I always said that this is quite unlikely given how far we came down here, because we came down too low and we also came down too strongly. Not very corrective, we came down rather impulsive, and that would suggest even lower prices for Solana medium term. And generally this is the key why I'm looking at this, right? Because we have come down too far. Ideally, what you would have loved to see or what we would have needed to see here in a potential, right, 1, 2, 3, yeah, maybe 3 waves. Here, wave 4, somewhere here, find support, move up in a wave 5. First impulsive move, but we've come down too much. We've come down too much. What this could still be is a wave 1, 2, 1, 2. But for a wave 2, we've come down again too impulsively, not corrective. So yeah, this is why, and there's never a guarantee, but that's why my view is still lower prices. We've now even lost that support level. And again, if we lose a $75 support, we are going to go to $55. Now, is a short-term upside possible? I think it is. Also based on the fact that we've now come down for quite a few weeks actually, so there needs to be naturally some kind of a recovery. Let's take a look. However, on the RSI, yes, we are bearish, but we're not oversold, so there isn't a clear signal that we would reverse from anywhere here. 8 hours, nearly oversold, but also MACD still pushing further down. And 4 hour, that is where potentially here a slight uptrend could start here on the MACD, but again, it's too weak. Yeah, the RSI doesn't even show a bullish divergence, not here recently. And also that potential reduction in negative momentum is too weak still. It is too weak. So I would want to wait for a clearer signal here to talk about a potential reversal. At the moment, we are still heading further down, quite strongly actually. I think when we hit 75, there could be a counter reaction to the upside. Yeah, that could trigger a corrective move up here. So between $78 and $75, that could trigger some sort of a move up. And if we move out of this descending trend line to the upside, that could then trigger some sort of a recovery. Important to do that is also to move above $81. Then we could move all the way up, in my view, to 95. That would be the next target to the upside. And to the downside, I told you that would be the $55 level. If we zoom out, there isn't a lot of support here between 75 and 55. We've got here a bit of an area of trade, maybe around 68, 67 US dollars before we then eventually would fall to 55. Looking at the longer term indicators as well, because that is quite meaningful as well. Where are we here? And here shows the whole picture of the bearishness on the chart. 4-day chart, very relevant for crypto as well. This is probably going to become a bearish crossover. We even have here on the 4-day chart a huge engulfing red candle, suggesting also here further downside. The weekly has stopped that reduction in negative momentum, and we're heading further down as well. So overall, and there isn't even a monthly chart. Thank you, because yeah, the monthly wouldn't look good. But so on the weekly, yeah, no, this is heading further down, bearish range of the RSI. So there are really no bullish signs here currently on the chart, and therefore the view has to be that we continue to move down. Bullish signal would be, for example, that move above $81 and the descending trend line, and then we have to reevaluate. But in my view, that at the moment would only be a corrective move up before we come down once more. What I could imagine what we're doing here, and again, that's not guaranteed, but that is something that I see in the chart here that could develop, is here a head and shoulders pattern that might form. Yeah, so a corrective move up in line with Bitcoin's wave 2, if you've seen my Bitcoin videos, and then coming down breaking down, moving down to that $55 level, maybe even $30 before we then will move to new all-time highs. So that's my view about Solana. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, check out the channel membership and maybe even my trading course on the website, morecryptoonline.com. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.